So you are an up-and-coming developer, you want to learn how to make some simulator UIs. Well, that's what UIs I'm going to do today. So first of all, make a screen GUI in Starter GUI. Now I'm gonna make a button and a frame for starters, since that's mainly what all games need. Yeah. So we imported a text button right now. Now you wanna make sure that you have feed this as scale. If you see this, it has to be scale. It doesn't must not be on offset. That's what I wanted to say. Okay. So now I made it full. Now I usually don't like this effect where it, like, if you hover over it, it turns darker. So I'm gonna auto button color off. I'm gonna remove the text as well. Now I'm gonna import a UI aspect ratio, and this is just to make sure that whatever size whatever size the screen is, the button will always stay squared. If you make it aspect ratio 2, then it will always stay like this, no matter what size your screen is, you know. Okay, so let's make it 1, and I'm gonna just, well, let's not touch this yet. Now I'm gonna add a UI corner, and usually what you wanna do is also change it to scale. Well, it doesn't really matter, but I like to change it to scale. Make it 0.1. I think that looks perfectly fine for me. Now let's add some UI gradation to spice up your buttons. So UI gradation. All simulator UIs are blue, so we're gonna do a blue color as well. I'm gonna make it a bit lighter on this end and a bit darker on this end, something like that. And now we also wanna rotate this so it's from up to down. Let's just add a frame. So now for the next step, this is very important. You wanna change your Zindex behavior to global, and now put your text button Zindex as 2, and as you can see, the frame now disappeared, and that's because it's behind the button. Now let's scale it like that again. I'm gonna also make this 0.5, and now this just makes sure that if you change the position to 0.5 like that it will always stay in center, and I always like to do that. Now I'm gonna just lower this to 55, and now it's gonna look like this, and it doesn't look the best, so I'm gonna just put the UI corner in as well. Now you wanna change the button color to like a bit of darker gray. Okay, to gray color, usually I do this. And now you just put your gradation right into here, and bam, you already have a perfectly nice button that you can use for literally whatever you want. You can also you can name this whatever you want. If this is, let's say for example, this is codes button, I'm gonna just name it codes, and for frames I'm gonna just make it shadow, because that's what essentially it is, you know. Now let's just position it right here. I'm gonna just do it like that. Let's scale it to like 110 is perfectly fine. Let's just make it like that. I'm gonna just put it here. Perfect. Now let's go to text label. We gotta put our Zindex to 2 or 3. I'll do it 3 because I just prefer it. Let's make size again 1.1 like this. Now remove the background on the text label. Now if you want some nice cartoonish text or font, I usually go for Source Sans bold or for Gotham bold or black, doesn't matter. Let's use Gotham black for this one. I always make it like that. White color always is better to use. Let's make texture transparency to 0.7. This just makes it pop off a bit more. And of course you wanna have your text scale like that. Now let's put our anchor points to 0.5 and you will see why this is gonna be handy right now. Let's put it in the center. Now, as you guys can see, it's pretty hard to read label. I mean, it's not hard to read. You can barely see the UI right now. And that's what I don't want. And to prevent that, I usually just scale this to 0.9. And as you can see, now it's the space between the labels is bigger and you can easily tell what button it is right now, because you can actually see the button as well. Now, because we don't want to have the label over the whole button, I'm gonna just make it to 0.3. I think that's fine. And let's move this to 0.8. And we have a nice label right now. I think it's a bit too big, so I'm gonna just put it to 0.9 here at the position and change this to 0.2. There we go. Now, if you find it a bit hard to work with actual numbers, you can actually hold it and scale it up to preferred size like that. Now, let's go add an image label. Let's make it as index 3. And I'm gonna make a text as index 4 because I want it to overlap the image. Now, do just basic stuff all over again. There's 1. Let's put an anchor point to 0.5. 0.5. And now I'm gonna scale it to like 0.7 and 0.7. Like that. And you typically want to remove the background and border pixel as well. It doesn't really matter once you load the actual image though. Let me just grab, for example, you're gonna do codes. So bam, there's a codes image. Usually if you wanna do if you wanna spice up the image itself, I'm gonna make it black. I think this trick is a lot useful, very useful. So 0.7 and then this is a very nice codes button already. So usually I rename text label to just text because it's easier to understand for the customer and also this image. Let's change the text from label to code like that. And now I wanna make this a bit bigger. I'm gonna make it an 8 and 8. And this is why anchor point is very useful. If I change the 8 without this anchor point, this would happen and you don't want that. And you pretty much have a done codes button or any button for that matter. You just change the image or text and bam, you got a new button. So usually what I do for frame is let's make some random size again. UI aspect ratio. I just use UI aspect ratio to scale down the image a bit more. You don't have to use it. Usually you do like 2 or 1.75. And bam, that's pretty good size, I believe. Now this is where also an incorporate is very useful right now because I can just put the position at 0.5 and it will automatically be in the center of the screen, as you guys can see. Let's go add, we can actually just duplicate the corner from here and move it to the frame because it's the same one. Now, here's a simple trick how to make your UI just look so much better. As you can see, the codes button is very small. Therefore, the UI corner radius looks smaller as well than on frame. And if I just want to make it match from button to frame, I'm gonna just decrease this to like 0.5, and now the corners are a bit more the same. If you like actually go put the frame here, you can see it's the same corner. Well, the other time it wasn't, it was a lot bigger. Okay, so we can just copy the UI gradient as well. We can copy the whole shadow as well because it already works. We just gotta, you see, This is the typical issue that you will come across when making a screen, when making UI with Zindex behavior as siblings, as you see. And the global is just what makes us prevent this. We just gotta put the actual frame above the shadow, make it 2, and bam, you have a good frame. Now, again, I'm gonna put this to 0.5 as the actual frame is as well. And I'm gonna move it a bit up because, as you can see, the shadow from codes is a lot bigger from the frame and we want it to match. So let's just make it like that, bam. This is already so nice UI, come on man. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate the codes button, put it inside the frame, I'm gonna scale it up. And now you have to play with the Zindex again. So let's make a shadow. I'm gonna make it 3. I'm gonna make codes button 4, codes image 5. Where is it? It's here, 5, and text is gonna be 6. Well, actual text is gonna be 5 because I'm gonna delete the image. We don't need it. We don't gonna call this button an exit button. Pretty simple. You guys already know what it is for. So bam, just make it X. Let's change the UR gradation as well. It has to be red. I mean, you can color it whatever you want, but red has the sense for closing. Let's make a bit darker red here, like that. That's fine. There we go. Do paste. I'm gonna make it like 50 or something. Okay, let's make it a bit bigger actually. That's perfectly fine. Whoops, my bad. I'm just gonna hold it and I'm gonna put it a bit like that. We have very nice an X button as well. Okay. Now for codes, you wanna do, let's do a text label. Actually, I'm gonna just copy it from here just so I save myself some time. Let's put codes right up here. Make sure it's centered in here as well. There we go. I'm gonna duplicate codes. Follow mode and developer 1 for updates and codes. Well, usually it goes for codes and updates. There we go. Now what we want to add is a text box. This is where, let me just rename that to title. I want to make this title, there we go. Now the text box, let's change the Zindex behavior to 3. I think it's 4 actually, no it's 3. Okay, change the size to offset again. I'm gonna put the UI aspect ratio to this one because I wanna make it like pretty long. So I'm gonna make it 4. Actually, let's do 5. Now I have to change this to Gotham Black as well as the label is. So I'm gonna do that real quick and bam, that's done. And now what I wanna do is just move it up where it has to be, like that. Change the anchor point to 0.5, change the position to 0.5 as well. There we go, and now I'm gonna just change this to like 7 and 5. There we go, that's perfect. Now let's add a UI coordinate to it as well. And as you can see, you barely can notice the UI coordinate, that's why we'll be increasing it a bit more. I'll put it like 0.15. It's actually pretty good for this, so I'm gonna use that. And as you guys can see, your gradation should not work with this. Bam, your gradation doesn't work, so I have to actually color it. And the way I do coloring on this, I usually select the blue and make it dark. There. And I just make a text saying enter goes here. And then you have a working button and a frame. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.